Welcome back, South by East friends, fans, and fams. Welcome to the Traffic Reports here on the South by East podcast, where we talk about the culture, the scriptures, and everything in between. John, you got something real interesting for us today.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I always say, build the behaviors and focus on the effort of the behaviors, and that leads to the wins. But if you focus on the wins, a lot of times you'll find yourself trying to take shortcuts and different things of that nature for the results without the right process, and you won't always achieve those. And so one of the examples was there's two producers, man, that are just prolific in the hip hop world recently, or I would say three that I recently heard stories from. The first one is Manny Fresh, who is with Cash Money Records. They were really popular in my heyday. So when I was in high school, man, it felt like Cash Money and No Limit.
Yes, bro.
They were in this battle, both from New Orleans, both in this battle. Like, it seemed like every other week they were both dropping. Right? And so it was like, did you get the latest? Did you get the latest? Right?
And were people choosing sides? In your high school, were they choosing sides?
It
was at the war.
Yeah. And so I know the rest of the country had East Coast, West Coast beef. Right. But down south, we were like, it was Cash Money, No Limit
versus Cash Money.
Yeah. And it was that Third Coast thing, right? And in Texas, it was Swisher House and Screwed Up Click.
Oh, yeah.
So you had Wreck Shop, Swisher House, all that. Like, that was kind of the battle. Right. They talking about North, they talking about Dallas. The South was Houston. Right. This is where we're at. But Manny was on. He was talking about how one of their biggest hits that he had was like, "Put everything in my mama name." That Hood Rich, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, really, when he produced that song and was writing and came up with the hooks and everything, Birdman and Wayne really didn't buy into the concept because their whole persona was supposed to be, we Cash Money. We got a lot of money. We got big cars. We're doing big things. We got women around us, everything else. But the whole concept of the song was how he was struggling.
Yeah, I'm poor.
And so they really fought against him completing the song. He said, like, they would just send people into the studio, like, when you gonna move on? When you stop even playing that? And it ended up being one of the biggest hits.
Yep.
Because that's what people could identify with. And then he also produced the B4.
Taking over for the 99 to the 2000s. Boo, 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 boom, boom, boo, boo.
So,
boom, boom.
And he was saying how, like, that is Juvenile's biggest hit, right?
Period.
And he was saying how when he first did the beat, Juvie really didn't like the intro. He didn't think the intro was good or anything else. Bro. And it's the most iconic, like, part of. So, but he believed in his work. He believed in his work and did it. Killer Mike was on, and he was saying how he had started getting a little bit since Killer Mike produced for Outkast. Once again, I know this is the Southern John. Produced for Outkast.
That's legend.
And so once again, Outkast first dropped, I believe, maybe when I was in middle school, like 8th grade. ATLNs, like the Fish and Grits. And so, maybe younger even, but he was producing for him. He was getting ready to go out, like, some of the guys that was all around the studio was getting ready to go out to the club, and he said that Big Boy was like, hey, why don't you skip that and spend some more time working on this here? Stay here with us and work a little bit longer. And out of that, he ended up getting Grammys. Out of that set, when he skipped, because all the rest of them was going to the strip club and everything. And Big Boy was like, why don't you not go to the strip club? And why don't you stay here and work with us?
Yeah.
And then Jermaine Dupri, So So Def, Atlanta. Another just revolutionary. If this tells you anything about Jermaine Dupri, Criss Cross. He found Criss Cross.
Man, Jermaine Dupri is crazy prolific.
The brat. But here's the thing you need to know about Criss Cross. They were not rappers. When he found them, he just saw these two little boys that other little girls their age thought were cute and were going crazy over. And so he was like, yeah, I'm going to turn y'all into some rappers. So he got Left Eye from TLC to design their clothing.
Oh, wow.
And she put them in the backwards
the
clothing.
Influence. I can see the influence. That's crazy.
And then he wrote rap songs for them and taught them how to rap.
Bro, timing and opportunity, man.
And he talks about, he's like, what's wrong with today's musicians and artists are they get a little success and they think the thing to do is to just keep producing that. And they fail to innovate. Mm-hmm. And so they go out of style so quickly because they think, oh, this is the formula.
Yeah.
The formula, they don't see that the formula was they were offering something that wasn't offered before.
And that's the thing though, but innovation is risky. And I was telling you this. I was when I was at Berkeley, one of my engineering teachers, he was sitting there, we were making music, and some of the kids were getting excited about, or some of the students were getting excited about some of our colleagues' work. And they're like, man, that's a hit. And he's like, don't ever say that. I'm like, what do you mean? And this guy, Gael Heading, he's produced for Justin Timberlake, got Latin Grammys, like big dude. He was like, don't ever say that. He's like, because we don't make hits. We make good music. Mm-hmm. A hit happens when the public connects with the right song at the right time in their life, at the right time for society, and they push that song past what that song could ever be. You never know when you've created a hit because you can't create a hit. It is the universe together that creates a hit, and you can't control any of that. So while we're here in this class, I don't want you to make what you think sounds like a hit. I just want you to make the absolute best music you can make, and then make sure it gets to the proper channel so it has an opportunity to become a hit. And so many people are chasing the trends, whether it be on music, whether it be in business, whether it be in housing, and they're like, how can I do what's working right now? And what's working right now, tomorrow's price is not today's price. Create something that's great and that has value, and eventually that value, the world will catch up to that value. And you have to find the right time and the place and opportunity. And that means also your eggs can't all be in one basket, because you don't know when that clock's gonna come up and you might run out of funding before you ever get the opportunity to see it take place.
When you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was Tracy Chapman. Recently, like, was it Fast Car is the name of her song? But she made that, I think, in like the 90s or the early 2000s. And then somebody heard it. It never gained any traction when she did it originally. Here in the last couple of years, she was #1 on the charts because somebody else redid the song, and it made her go to #1.
Hey, her blow up.
Because she just produced good music, and that good music inspired somebody else.
Right.
Which end up bringing a return on, and that's the deal. Like, I think in all of this, man, like, so here's the deal I run into let's take it out of the music world.
Yeah.
In ministry and in nonprofit work, you have to be willing to plant seeds for trees that you will never enjoy the shade of.
Come on.
You have to do good work that are planting seeds that are going to be, and here's the deal. You have to know that I'm doing the right thing, but I might not get this grant. I'm doing the right thing, but I might not get the big donation. I'm doing the right thing, and the nonprofit I lead may fail, but it might inspire the next nonprofit that actually brings an end to the cause for which your nonprofit existed.
I'm doing the right thing. I might not see people's heart change. I'm doing the right thing. I'm preaching the right sermon. They might run me out the church.
Yeah.
I'm doing what God called me to do. This might not actually work. People might not come to my church. People might not sit in the pews. They might not come to my program.
But bro, you can't do it. Like, look, the prep that I do now for sermons, the effort I put into sermons now is what I put in when I was an associate. And it's just like, man, the same kind of prep and creativity that I put. We were serving popcorn last Sunday.
Yep.
That's the same kind of the creative elements or things that I thought about when I was doing youth lessons, right? Of saying like, oh, I got to put some other stuff. I can't just sit up here and talk to them. I got to put some, you know, where I go with like the visuals, like what I want on my slides, different things of that nature, right? And I just think, man, you got to develop the framework for the saying, yeah, I'm going to continue. I'm not going to just rest on this is what I did before.
Right.
This is how I'm going to grow. This is how I'm going to innovate. And I'm going to put the effort into it to for it to be quality. And I got a chance to appoint to 2 different leaders today, actually, from other organizations. And that was a part of the work. And they were asking questions about, like, how did you come up? And I was like, there's a lot of hours that you don't see. And I didn't even say that, actually. The other person in one was like, they were like, yeah, John do a lot more work and practice on honing this than y'all ever see. You just see when he's in front of the camera or something like that. But he's doing a ton of study, a ton of practice, and just over and over and over again with this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's the part that people don't ever see. They don't see me getting home on a Saturday after being out with the family, doing family activities, and saying, before I go to bed, though, I got to go over my sermon a couple times for Sunday morning.
Right.
And then on Sunday morning, I got to go over my sermon
a few more times.
Before I even get to run through. And just like, hey, here's a part of all this. And even the way I format my preaching copy of my manuscript like that's work. And so that's the thing I look at with all this, man, is, and you don't do it for what will, preachers shouldn't be punchline rappers.
Right.
We should not be culturing sermons to be like, I'm going to build up to this, and this was going to kick them. Like, no, man. Like, hey, I want to share overflow of my study in God's word with you. I don't study to preach. I study to grow and nurture my relationship with God. And then when the Holy Spirit blesses, I'm able to give an overflow from that study time to that. And I just think that's where the quality comes in.
Yeah. And are you creating quality? There's one last thing, 'cause we're low on time, but I want you to share just a little bit about Kev on Stage and what happened recently with you. You were talking about Kev on Stage.
Oh, yeah.
Share about that, because I think that's important that people see that piece.
So Kev on Stage, if you remember, he first started out in a kind of skit group with his brother and some other people, and then that kind of took off, and that kind of launched to Kev on Stage that we know now.
Right.
But then as he started to grow, he's like, man, he couldn't break into certain things that he wanted to, so he created his own app called Kev on Stage Studios, where you had to subscribe, and that was how you got access to all the stuff. He had hired some friends. They did it on discount, helped him create it, put in tons of his hours, and guess what? It failed. He had to lay everybody off. And then he started writing these 2 TV shows that right now just got taken up, right? And after these have now received their 2nd season, another company came around and bought all the material that he had previously created with his Kev on Stage Studios app and paid him to make more. So those friends, like, and it was sad because he was working and doing all this stuff with these closest friends, everybody else, everybody put in, they just saw it was gonna work, and it didn't work the way it worked. The way it's gonna work now is they're gonna be on, and have kind of like Peacock or whatever else, like one of those picked up all this and is now saying, we buying all this stuff, plus we're gonna pay you to make new stuff. And what you thought was a failure actually wasn't a failure. It just wasn't the right timing and the right format. And you had some good ideas. It just wasn't right. And these things, and if you would have went forward with this, these 2 things probably would have never came about. But this coming about would now allow this right now to resurface and have opportunity.
Man, being faithful with what you have Building for quality, man, and then trusting God's timing on that.
I'll say this too. The thing that he always talks about though is consistency. He's like forcing yourself. That for him was like that one post a day, forcing yourself like to do that those consistent things.
That's
was
it.
Key.
That's it, man. But what do y'all think about this conversation? We'd love to hear more. Continue to tap in with us here in our traffic reports, and we'll see you next week
In the intersection.